EGM Network.
Hi, good morning. I am Janine Barrows. I am your host here on Silver Linings, usually joined by my friend and co-host Raul. He's playing hooky today. What a terrible day for him to miss. We are still here in the studio and we are bringing Silver Linings to you. And with that being said, today we have Sarah Wilson and Jackie Grady, who are joining us from the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation. I said it right?
Yeah,
Slowly but right? Okay. And they're going to share with us exactly what that foundation does in our community, the mission, where it began, and their roles with it. So first and foremost, thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Indeed. Tell us, and you can do rock, paper, scissors. It's up to you. Who's first? A little bit about your role and how you came to be in that role, and about the foundation itself, how it came to be, and who it serves.
Okay. Jackie's looking at me, so I'll go for
All
it.
right, you're it.
Okay, I'm Sarah Wilson. I'm the executive director. I've been in that role for coming up on 4 years now. And I mean, the foundation is a nonprofit. Nonprofits have executive directors who are kind of the administrators, and we're a very small nonprofit. We have been in existence for almost 35 years. And
That's nice.
so I've only been here for a very small part of that, but the organization has been around for a long time, doing
You're a
lots of
baby.
things in the community. Yeah. My role is to manage the organization, to keep our programming going. I mean, I do, since we are such a small organization, kind of a jack of all trades, marketing, you name it. So, and then of course we have a whole host of volunteers and a volunteer board. And Jackie is the president of that board. And so the work is done by me and all those other people as well.
Right. No single pirate happening here to run this ship. It takes many,
Yes.
right?
That's correct.
Indeed. So she kind of handed it off softly to you.
Yes, and she said, I am the president of the board of directors. My term started in July, but last July, I actually joined the board in November of 2021 and was just a member at large on the board, and then sort of got more and more involved, as one does when you join a nonprofit board. So the board is responsible for sort of preserving the mission and making sure the mission is carried forward of the organization. And one of the things that attracted me to the Laura Riding Jackson Foundation was the fact that almost 35 years ago, when Laura Riding Jackson passed away, she lived in one of the what we call a cracker-style house. Mm-hmm. And she had lived there for almost 50 years and hadn't made any changes to it. So we had this wonderfully preserved home. And a few wonderful members of our community recognized the historical significance of that home, and a developer wanted to tear that house down. So they started the foundation to preserve the home. And over the course of the 35 years, it is not just for preserving the home, but we now have the Florida Friendly Garden. And what we've really have gone into are the writing programs for basically anyone of any age. We have programs for children all the way up to adults. And that's really sort of become the focal point of our organization. And we do have like other literary type offerings for people who don't want to write, but want to talk about literature. So we really have expanded our scope. And that's what our board sort of makes those decisions of what we're doing and the forward path of our organization.
So for the average community member, what is the connection between being a writer and Laura Riding Jackson?
Sure. So Laura Riding Jackson, I know a lot of people don't know who she was, but she was a very acclaimed poet back in like the 1920s, in the 30s. And she really had a very strong opinion about literature and the words and how we communicate, how we use our words. And so we kind of got this like BOGO, if you will, with the house. We also have the fact that we had this really acclaimed poet who lived there and had such a strong view about language and using that language. So that's kind of how this all kind of
Yeah.
turned into writing and literature as
So
well as the house.
She wasn't just a great homesteader and keeper of a great historic piece that represents that Florida cracker style home, but she was also a well-known poet who was able to express herself in an age and time where women often were silenced or not considered to be educated enough to be a writer and recognized as that such. She brought a lot to the table in a period of time that really the table was often not even available to women.
Correct.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that. So with that being said, today you kind of touched on some of the things that you all do. Before we get into what a lot of what you said is the well-known part, I want to go back on the historic building. Can you share with our listeners where that building is, where that house exists today?
Sure. It is currently on the campus of Indian River State College here in Vero Beach. I say currently because it not only moved there once, but we've moved it twice. So when Laura lived in the house, it was actually located in Wabasso. It was on 13 acres that included a citrus grove. So there's a connection to the county citrus past as well. And as Jackie alluded to, after Laura died, someone else had purchased the land and didn't want the home. So a group of people formed the foundation to save the house originally, but they had to immediately move it. So they did, and they moved it to the grounds of the Environmental Learning Center. They had offered some space there. So it was there for over 20 years. Oh. And throughout that time, it was not only preserved, but available for tours, so people could come and see what it would be like to live in a house like that. And then the Environmental Learning Center had plans for their space, and our lease was up, and they said, sorry, but the house has to go. So luckily for us, the college agreed to give us some space out there. And so since 2019, that is where the house has been. And we do give tours. We have the house open from November to April. We close it for hurricane season to kind of seal it up and
preserve it.
So we're coming up toward the end of the tour season now that it's already April.
Wow. I panic when I have to think about moving, and that doesn't include my house.
Yeah, the entire house. It's quite an endeavor. There's a video on the website for people who are interested in that sort of thing, because it was a huge endeavor. So.
What is the website if somebody wants to go and visit?
You can go to laurawritingjackson.org or just lrjf.org.
All right. So it's easy enough to get to. Read a little bit about the history and the preservation of the house, I'm presuming. Yeah. And that's nice. And how many individuals were involved, like groups coordinating to move that house?
It was a massive undertaking. Obviously, we had a board member who took the lead on that, and it was a bunch of volunteers. I mean, we had to hire obviously a company to actually move, put the house on flatbed trucks and move it. So,
and I imagine there was a lot of regulation in reference to keeping the historic value of the home preserved while doing that move, and then securing the foundation for where it was going to be moved to.
Right. Correct. The Cracker homes, one of the architectural hallmarks is that they're raised up off the ground on, that used to be on literally pine stumps. And that's how her house was when it was originally in Wabasso. When we moved it to the campus, it's now on sort of cinder block, so it's raised up off the ground.
A little more modern support structure.
But yeah, the house had to be taken apart into pieces and put back together again.
Kind of like Humpty Dumpty.
Yes.
Right. And one interesting thing to note, we talk about how she didn't make any changes to the house and we're preserving it. She didn't even have electricity until the very end when she had some nurses come in and say they needed to have electricity. So when we say there was nothing done, there was nothing done. So it's a great way. If you go on a tour, you really get to see how old Florida once was and how this house was architecturally designed to deal with the heat.
The flow of the air from the river, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Very ergonomically designed, although seeming so simplistic in its physical nature.
Correct. Yep.
How exciting. What a great thing to be part of. And then you're not only preserving the history of a Florida style home and highlighting how they were built and why they were built a certain way, but again, preserving her work as well and giving her a light to work under for as long as people speak her name, right? So I think that's beautiful and wonderful. And those are how you kind of got those beginning steps to where the foundation serves openly and is mostly known for today, as Jackie was talking about, which is how I originally came to get familiar with the LJF group. I'm going to use your keywords. I got to save myself from stumbling. and it has grown significantly outside of that as well, not just serving the children. I think initially it was a foundation with kids, maybe I'm wrong. And then you can clarify, but that it is, as you said, serving all kinds of potential writers and creatives and offering a safe space and an educational piece, because it's not always natural. Sometimes we have blockers that keep us from that. So I know I want to talk about that being Poetry Month and what you all have upcoming in your summer camps, but we have a little break ahead of us. So if you don't mind, just hold those thoughts. We're going to come right back.
The Blue Angels are back at the Vero Beach Air Show, presented by Piper Aircraft, Inc. Feel the power of the Blue Angels Saturday and Sunday. The Vero Beach Air Show, May 15th, 16th, and 17th. Tickets at VeroAirShow.com.
At lunchtime, enjoy a southern home-cooked meal paired with the best sweet tea in town at Marsh Landing. You'll love our daily lunch specials like chicken and dumplings every Thursday, or one of our juicy half-pound burgers. Experience old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing in Fellsmere.
Tired of pool chores draining your weekend? Deja Blue Pool Service provides the expert skimming and chemical balancing you need for a crystal clear paradise. For Vero's most reliable professional care, Google Deja Blue Pool Service. Keep it clean, keep it blue.
Welcome to 9 to 5, the musical, where the coffee's strong and the women are stronger. And their boss, Mr. Hart, well, he's a little high-strung, shall we say. Based on the smash hit movie 9 to 5, the musical is a hilarious story of female friendship and delightful revenge. Come meet the whole gang. 9 to 5 is now playing at the beautiful Riverside Theater in Vero Beach. Get your best tickets now at the box office or riversidetheater.com.
Evergreen Media is your go-to for podcasting. Business owners, boost your brand by educating clients with your own show. Just show up. We handle everything else. Get your custom video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and more. Start today at egreenmedia.com.
Welcome back to Silver Linings. We are so grateful for our commercial sponsors, but we are especially grateful for our show sponsor. And I want to give a shout out to Dill Evans and Rotoback, located in Sebastian over 30 years. If you ever have a need for real estate, trust information, or elder care law, please don't hesitate. Reach out to them. I have no doubt they can guide you in the right direction. So back to our conversation that we were having before our break. I am learning so much because, like I mentioned early on, I only knew one specific spec of the LGF Foundation and what it kind of provided in the community. And it covers many people, and it offers many opportunities to drop into your creative being. And that is something that we were talking about before the show that is not always so easy to do. We, as human beings in every season of our lives, take on responsibilities that become very heavy on us and sometimes stifle those creative voices and juices that I think a lot of us have and we just don't tap into. And so our purpose today was to kind of highlight, one, that this is Poetry Month, right? And that you all have some really exciting and fun things happening at the foundation and specifically at your brick and mortar. So who wants to talk about Poetry Month?
Go ahead, Sarah.
Okay. So April is National Poetry Month. And so every April we focus on poetry. We do all kinds of writing. And although Laura Riding Jackson herself was a poet, she wrote in many genres. So just want to make clear that we're not just a poetry organization, but it is Poetry Month. And so this coming Saturday, we have a teen writers workshop on spoken word poetry. We have these workshops for teens around the year, but because it's April, we're doing one on poetry this Saturday.
And what does that mean?
A teen writers workshop or spoken word?
Spoken word.
Okay. Spoken word poetry is more performative. So you, of course, you don't just spontaneously start speaking. You have to write your thoughts down. So it's a writing exercise, but then it's more focused on the actual performance of the poem.
delivery of the
So,
message.
yeah, so it's great for teens who are both into writing and performance. So
Nice.
still space, kids
Double
can sign up.
outlet.
Yeah. And then
And is there a fee for that if they sign up?
no.
They can do it. It's
Our
performative,
teen
it's
programs
just
are
open.
they're free. We do ask for kids to register so we know who's coming, but there's no
Nice.
cost.
Okay.
And then on the 30th, we're doing an open mic night. This is for adults because it's actually being held at the Vero Wine Bar, so no kids. But we do have a lot of adult writers who write with us as well, and that's an open mic. It's not necessarily spoken word because it's not so much about the performance. So these are poets who have written poetry they'll read their poetry, and so it's a little bit of a performance, but not quite the same as spoken word. So. We encourage people to come to that as well.
As adults, we lose that energy level
right.
a little bit. So I'm teasing. So that's really great. And that is open to the general public.
Yes, it is.
And does that have a fee to it?
No. And, our writing center is located on 14th Avenue, and it just so happens that the Vero Wine Bar is in our shopping plaza, and they're good neighbors. And,
So it's right next
hosting.
door. Yes.
Right.
I've been in that plaza many times.
I do believe the wine bar does require an RSVP, just because they
Sure,
have limited
space
capacity.
and-
Yes,
So, but yeah,
absolutely. That
it's
makes
there's no fee to it.
Oh, how very exciting. Even if you're not speaking out that day, maybe you can come and enjoy and support them, right?
Yeah, someone stopped in to see me recently who had gone to a previous open mic and said, I'm not interested in poetry. I don't read poetry. I didn't know anything about it. But she said, I just happened to go that night. And she said, it's a really great way to be exposed to poetry without, it's not just sitting quietly reading a book. It was fun.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. So, as you mentioned, it's not just poetry. She wrote across multiple genres, and the foundation hopes to support multiple genres, right? So, with that in mind, you have some great summer programs that you have coming up, right? So, talk about that a little bit. Tell me who wants to. Jackie?
I'll let you talk about the summer programs, and I'll talk about our adult writing programs.
Okay.
We now have programming over the 35 years that we've been in existence. As we said, it started to preserve the house, then it expanded into these writing programs, and we expanded, and we now have programs for all ages. So in the summer, we have a middle school writing camp. And so it's for kids who are going into 6th grade through going into 9th grade.
Okay.
It
That's
is
a tender age.
Yeah. And it's a week-long camp. There's 3 sessions, so different kids come each of the 3 weeks in June. And it's there's all kinds of activities. So it's not just, sit at your desk and write for 6 hours. The instructor is great and energetic, and we take walking field trips, we do crafts, but it's all to inspire the kids to write. And at the end, we put out a book, actually, of the kids writing so that everybody becomes a published author.
I love that. I'm gonna add something to this. It was last summer that I went in, and you all had some kind of group in there of young people, and I'm guessing you had a volunteer writer that comes in and does these education pieces, and it caught my attention. I came in for a minute and I went, "Ooh, they're in the middle of something. I should leave." And they were like, "Wait." And I stood there for a minute and I listened to this leader in the group proceed to guide the kids down the perspective of being an inanimate object, living as an inanimate object. And I was there going, ooh, this is a fun way to get a new perspective. And I thought I'd love to have been there a week later to see what they produced and what they created and what they felt like as this particular object. But a great education piece, I can only fathom, and I only saw a snippet in that moment of being there. So I can only imagine the outcome when they get that one-to-one, when they get those new opportunities of new perspectives and how they can come out writing the piece down and sharing their thoughts and words. That's wonderful.
We want kids to grow as writers, and we always say that our focus first is on imagination and creativity. So we have kids who come to our summer camp and say, am I going to be graded on this? Or what if I don't know how to spell? And we said, this is not school. Don't worry about that. This is to just really just let loose and write and use your imagination.
Well,
That's what editors are for.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
But
Very
as,
true.
as Sarah said, so there's, they become published authors, and we do a book launch. And what's really cool is, one, you get to see how creative and intelligent these kids really are when left to just not being graded, right? But then we were at the book launch, and the kids went to have a group picture taken, and all the parents were sitting there, and everyone had that book open, and they were with that intent look of like, wow, my kid wrote that, or look at. So it was really a great moving experience just to see how touching
on all sides
Yeah.
of it. I
Yeah.
love that. I did see something about the book launch or a bunch of authors getting together. What is that about?
So you may be referring to, we also have a press, a publication press. So we published a book called On Foreign Soil, and it came from one of our adult writing groups. We have 8 adult writing groups. And
gosh,
we have 2 of them for poetry, 6 are sort of, we have people writing novels, memoirs, screenplays. It covers everything. And in fact, so I'm going to toot my own horn here. It was the Tuesday Writers. I'm a member of that group. And we did a book. We all had lived on foreign soil at some point. So we all wrote these stories about what it was like living on foreign soil from this American perspective.
Nice.
And so that was published. And we had the book launch, I think it was last month in March. We did the big book launch at our writing center, and that book is now, you can buy it at the writing center. It's at the Vero Beach Book Center on the shelves there as well. So
Guidance throughout the process, support throughout it, highlighting and education on how to get your words printed. I love this. There is a win-win-win all the way around, whether you're young or a little bit more seasoned.
yeah,
There are a lot of people in our adult writing groups. I mean, they span all age groups, so it's not just retirees. But there are people who have retired who come in and say, "I always wanted to write a book. I have a story to tell," and gives them an opportunity.
I think we all have a story to tell. It's just recognizing the value, forming it into a thought, and then being encouraged and having a space to do that. I think that's amazing. And you all have done exactly that. The board of directors and the foundation have worked hard to expand the options and opportunities that have grown from the LJF Foundation over the years. So we have only a few moments left, and some of our listeners are only going to be listening and not video today. So if somebody wanted to call out to your organization and get some additional information and make contact with another person, what is a phone number that they would use?
772-569-6718.
Wonderful. And obviously, you do a lot of things that are free for the community. Are you accepting donations, or are you accepting volunteers to help make this foundation run smoothly for these programs? What does that look like?
yes.
Yes,
we do.
yes.
Every nonprofit always needs
Absolutely.
resources and time and treasure, and that's always needed. So absolutely, you can go onto the web page, donate. You can sponsor a kid for camp. We have all sorts of different ways that people can get involved. Volunteers are always needed. So we're always open to those possibilities. And we're looking for grants and anyone who wants to get involved.
And if you're an artist and you want to offer your experience, do you accept that? And how does that happen if that's the case?
Sure, just get in touch by calling or sending an email and talk to us about what it is you do and how you can help.
I love that. So you've got hands-on individuals help mentoring that new growth. That's a beautiful thing. So we accept donations. We do have programs like the summer program that have costs, but you want to be able to offer scholarships. And so somebody can specifically for those programs adopt a kid and pay for that. How much is it for a week?
It's $225.
$225 a week. So for $225, a donor can sponsor somebody for an entire week of having this grand experience and tapping into their creativity. And what is the age group span?
It's grades 6 through 9.
6 through 9. Wonderful. Oh, how exciting. I love learning about this. I'm so grateful that you all had the time today to come and share that with me. I'm going to have Jesse put up there it was right there. It was the website so that I can encourage people to go out, call them, reach out on the website, send an email. If you know student bodies that could benefit from this because they already are tapping into their creativity or they need a break to be able to tap into their creativity, that this is a local on 14th Avenue Central Vero organization that is focused on doing exactly that and helping our community members and our children as well do that. So please reach out over to Sarah or Jackie and the team there and see if you can be involved and be party to the foundation and exposing creativity and helping it grow right here in Indian River County. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing such positivity for what goes on here in Indian River. Thank you.
Thanks.
We will see you in 2 weeks. Be well. Bye. We did.